Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Sandy. I work for the Northwest Federal Credit Union, headquartered here in Herndon, Virginia. I'm so glad to be back on the air on our program on HCTV, in which we focus on one of the Northwest Federal Credit Union community partners. My job at Northwest Federal is Community Engagement Manager, and what that means is that I work on our efforts to support our 120 nonprofits in the area. And we do that in a variety of ways, through sponsorships, through employee volunteerism, through our Northwest Foundation, and through a lot of corporate giving. So we're really excited to be back on HCTV and shine a light on the good work that our partners are doing in the community, and we're pleased to be a part of it. My guest today, her name is Katie Dugan Vargas. Katie is the Associate Director of Development for the U.S. Tennis Association Mid-Atlantic. And Katie specifically focuses on a program called Girls Rule the Court, which Northwest has been involved in, and it's a wonderful program. So we're excited to have Katie here today. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for having me.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about USTA Mid-Atlantic first, and then what you do at Girls Rule the Court.
USTA Mid-Atlantic, it's the United States Tennis Association, so that's racket sports, primarily focused obviously on tennis. We've been around for over 100 years, and we've been around doing lots of work in the community. We run lots of leagues. Tennis and recreational tennis through our league program is one of the largest recreational sport opportunities for adults, and we're constantly growing. Tennis as a whole, we have about 25 million people that play tennis across the country, and our goal nationally is 35 million by 2035. That's a huge goal, but the good news is we're constantly growing. We actually are growing the sport by almost 1 million tennis players every year. And so we do a lot of different things in our community, both with the league program, junior competition tennis, working with Parks and Recreation, working with community tennis associations, clubs, community clubs, country clubs, all across our region to help grow the sport. We do lots of training opportunities for coaches, for officials, for players, for youth program, all across the Mid-Atlantic. We work with Tennis in Schools, which is a program that also helps to get PE teachers, both equipment, free equipment, but also the curriculum to be able to teach tennis in PE, because we find that tennis is often shied away from as a sport in PE, and so we're all about getting more teachers comfortable being able to teach it, because truly the benefits of tennis are so vast. You know, one of the things that we found, the USTA does a lot of research and work in this, but tennis is really the healthiest sport, and it will also extend life expectancy if you start playing tennis. And you don't have to have started playing tennis as a kid. You can start playing as a kid, but literally anytime is never too late to pick up a racket. I didn't pick up a racket till I was 33. So it's never too late, and then you can play. And you can play for years. I actually had a woman, she's since passed, but she was 104 still playing tennis. And she didn't start until her 30s, and she'd played for over 70 years, which is just... No other sport can you say you do that. You know, there's lots of great sports, and sports are great, but I played soccer and field hockey, for example, growing up, and I don't play them now as an adult. It's hard to find another 11, 12 people on your team to field a team and then play against. Whereas tennis, you need one other person. You need a racket, a ball, one other person. So it's a very accessible sport, and we're working to continue to make it accessible here in the Mid-Atlantic. In addition to all of our kind of recreational programs, we do a lot of other very specific community programs. So we have Girls Rule the Court, which I know we'll get to. We're going to talk a lot about. But in addition, we have a facility restoration grant program that actually provides grants for community courts. So that's Parks and Rec, that's courts at schools, high schools, elementary schools, middle schools, community colleges. We funded a grant at Rappahannock Community College to help get them some brand new tennis courts. So we do have a grant program that helps to fund community tennis so that courts are available for all to play in the public.
What are some of the obstacles to playing tennis? And I think that's a good point that you mentioned. The court
I mean, you got to have a court. Yep. So we're always trying to help provide more opportunities open to the public to play tennis. So that's one. And then equipment sometimes can be a barrier. It's not, necessarily the cheapest sport, but it's also not super expensive either. So especially when you play on a community court, it's like I said, you need a racket and a ball. And so for our junior players, we actually have a scholarship program that helps provide tennis scholarships. So these are scholarships, not scholastically based scholarships, but scholarships that help to provide funding for either whether you're a beginner player and you're trying to buy your first racket or buy a pair of tennis shoes or balls or what have you, all the way up to an advanced player who is playing national tournaments across the country and is working on national junior rankings that help get them to go play more tournaments. Because as you progress, especially in the junior space, you've got to up your ranking. And so to do that, you've got to play more tournaments, basically. Kind of the same thing in the adult space. Like within, professional tennis, you play more tournaments. You play the slams, which is Australia, French, Wimbledon, and U.S. Open. But then there's all the other little tournaments in between, one of which we have right here in our backyard in Washington, D.C. every summer. It's the Mubadala City Open. Yeah, so that one's always a lot of fun. It's the DC summer tradition, as they say. It's always like the highlight of the summer for me. But then there's lots of other tournaments. And so that's the same thing the professional players are doing. They are constantly playing tournaments to up their ranking, and they all want to be world number one, right? That's the goal. So if you were watching the U.S. Open recently, you would hear Carlos Alcaraz and Aryna Sabalenka won. And it's what do they need now to be world number one at the end of the year for world number one for 2025? So same thing in the junior space. They're all working on their rankings. So the scholarship program helps provide funding to be able to travel, hotels, travel expenses, because we really just want to make sure that all kids have those opportunities. I mean, we always hear about there's lots of tennis scholarships at the university level. So not necessarily, you can play D1 obviously, but there's also D2, D3, and there's lots of opportunities to play tennis, especially for girls here in this country. So we're always about trying to open doors, open pathways to help make the sport accessible for all, especially here in Mid-Atlantic. And so those are a couple of our programs. And Girls with a Court was kind of born out of the need to help break down barriers, provide more access. But also one of the things, we do a lot of work with the Women's Sports Foundation, and that was founded by Billie Jean King. And a lot of the research they were coming out with 5-6 years ago was, there's not enough opportunities for girls. There's lots of opportunities to play sport and for kids to play sport, but there's literally not enough opportunities for girls. There's 1.13 million more opportunities for a boy to play sports than for a girl. We also know that girls, when they play sports, they're more likely to do better in school. They're more likely not to drop out. Lots of statistics around the...
So there's more gender parity in tennis then?
You could say that. Definitely, I think as you look at like going up the professional pathway, but I mean, even at the localized level, there's just, whether it's tennis, soccer, there's just not enough opportunities for all girls sports. And we find that when girls play sports together with their peers and, the boys, while, no shame on the boys, right? Like boys, nothing against them. But when a girl has an opportunity to play with another girl, there's just so much more that goes into her confidence level, right? Like maybe they're more shy or timid, but when they're playing with another girl and it's just them having fun, their confidence, their self-worth, all of that just starts to rise and boost. And so that's what, with Girls with a Court, we created the program. USTA has a great program for getting kids active and engaged in tennis through the Red Ball program. And that program is really just geared on providing the basic entry-level pathway into tennis. And a key component of that really is the red ball. And so, often and it's not really a red ball, but it's got like a red dot on it. Tennis balls are typically green, but what we found
is the red ball's bigger than a tennis ball.
No? Oh. It's like the same, but it's lower compression.
Okay.
So that means it's not going to bounce as much. It's like when it bounces, it's not going to go boom, 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 boom. It's going to just... It just is a slower bounce. And so goes red ball, orange ball, green ball. The point of that is if you get kids successful with the skills in tennis, so with how to hold a racket and how to really make contact on that sweet spot on their racket, on their strings, if they get successful with the basic skills of rallying, volleying, serving, then as the ball gains more compression, they'll be more successful because they understand the basics, they understand the skills, and when they're successful, they're having more fun. And that is, USTA has put a lot of work into kind of putting this together, understanding, making this curriculum. And so that's what we use in the Girls Rule the Court program, because we know that when kids are successful in tennis, they have more fun. If they're just drilling at a ball machine and the ball, like, they can never quite get their racket or make contact, right?
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating, and then they're not having as much fun. And so we're all about trying to make it as fun and accessible as possible. And so with Girls Rule the Court, we use that red ball curriculum. But then
that's the one that you did when I came over. We did a program together over at Sterling Elementary, right?
Yep, exactly. When we play indoors like that, I think probably what you're remembering too is we also use a foam ball. So that's another.
Yeah.
There's the red foam ball, and then there's a regular red tennis ball.
Okay. But yeah, I was blown away. I mean, just seeing the girls and just how the camaraderie and just the smiles on their faces. And I think I was there for their graduation.
So at the end of the program, it's an 8-week program. So it's 2 hours. The first hour is kind of spent in this tennis lesson. And then the second hour is spent on social emotional learning and really focusing on social emotional wellness and growth. So every week they have a different theme. So empowerment, self-love, how do we be good listeners, how do we, be good teammates. So they do that, but then at the end of the program, we have a pizza party, and it's super fun. The parents get to come, and the girls get to show off the skills that they've learned, and then every girl gets a racket, because we know how important it is. If you have a racket and a ball, you're likely to keep playing, right?
Playing.
If you've tried tennis but you don't have a racket, like, are you going to keep playing? We don't know, but like if you give them the racket, they'll keep playing. Since we started the program in 2022, we've served over 1,500 girls across the Mid-Atlantic.
Wow. And how do you determine what schools that Girls Rule the Court will be in?
So we work closely with the school districts themselves. So when we first got started with Girls Rule the Court in Loudoun County, we went to LCPS and got connected with the Community School Initiative, which focuses on providing wraparound services for Title I schools. So working with LCPS, we were able to identify some of the Title I schools that are community schools in Sterling. Got started. Sugar Land Elementary was the first school, and they've been wonderful to work with. Principal Mahalik is awesome. He actually has gone out to the practice and stuff himself and hit around, and he's just been such a wonderful ambassador. Coach Vic, the PE teacher, Coach Cortez, he's also been a huge champion of tennis. He did our Tennis in Schools program probably back in like 2010. And so when we came to the school and we were like, oh, we want to do, he was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing tennis all these years. Like, I'm so excited to finally have like a tennis club. So they've been wonderful to work with. And since we've grown from not just Sugar Land, but also Sully Elementary School, Sterling Elementary School, Meadowland Elementary School. And I'm very excited. I don't know if I told you this yet, but we're launching Seneca Ridge Middle School.
Oh, wonderful.
This fall. So
yes, congratulations.
Thanks. Which is great, because the girls that started in the program, that there's a few now that are in middle school, they'll be able to keep going and playing tennis, and hopefully we'll get them ready for the high school team.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was at Sterling Elementary at your events the last couple of years. It was a lot of the same girls who had come back. So I wondered how that transitioned to when they got to middle school or high school.
Yep.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we've been working with LCPS and their mental health team to do that, because they're really big on these kinds of programs, because they know that these are the things that keep kids in school, right? It helps lower absenteeism rates. It helps, they're excited, right, about tennis day. It keeps them engaged, and it helps their learning, because then if they know there's something fun, they're excited, they're more open to learning. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned about SEL and social emotional wellness is if kids are excited about something, they're going to be more likely to thrive, more likely to participate, more likely to tell their friends, and just more open, honestly, which is huge, because so often, especially since the pandemic, I think what we've seen and read, like in research, but also just like in talking with the schools, kids that was a huge thing for them, and the mental toughness, the social skills really were challenging in that time. So programs like this really help make a difference. And
the socialization.
Exactly. And just how to, work well with your peers, and, being kind. I mean, there's, bullying can be a big thing at schools, both online bullying, in-person bullying. And so, again, programs like this really help to break things down for the kids so they can learn how to be their best selves.
I'm excited that I got to see it firsthand. And thank you for including us. It was amazing.
Of course. Well, and thank you guys. I mean, you guys have been wonderful partners and sponsors, and we loved when Chris came out and did the financial literacy component, because that's another thing that's huge, skills for these girls to learn.
So what are your plans for the program moving forward?
So
growing it outward into more cities?
So growing it. We know, right, based on the statistics I shared, there's not enough opportunities. So how can we help provide girls with a court? More locations here in Northern Virginia. We're also working very closely with Fairfax County Public Schools and Superintendent Reed. So we're excited about the opportunities there. We actually are about to start our second location in Fairfax County at Hybla Valley Elementary School. We're at Groveton currently, and so we're looking forward to growing that. But then we're also growing across our region. We've got programs in Baltimore, Charlottesville, Richmond, Hampton Roads. We're launching programs in Howard County. I've had some great conversations literally just in the last week with DC, with Montgomery County, Prince George's County. So really growing it as far and wide as we can here in our region, but also we're working on growing it nationally. I mean, we really want this to be a national movement and opportunity for girls across the country.
And didn't you just go to an event up in New York that was a girls' roller court?
We did. We did. We actually had a really wonderful opportunity with USTA nationally. We took 24 girls to the U.S. Open.
Oh, beautiful.
On a bus trip. And it was 24 girls and their parents, but it was phenomenal. I still get chills when I think about it and talk about it. At one moment, we were watching the Venus Williams-Leyla Fernandez doubles match. They did a wonderful job at the U.S. Open this year, and we were in Louis Armstrong Stadium, which is there's Arthur Ashe, which is the biggest stadium, one of the biggest stadiums for tennis in the world, and then second to that is Louis Armstrong. So we were in Louis Armstrong. We were watching this match. Layla and Venus won, which was awesome. And then literally 2 hours later, these girls were there, and they were hitting around on center court.
Oh, my goodness.
And they got to go through the player tunnel and go, behind the scenes. And
these were girls from our area.
From our area. We had quite a few that we picked 3 girls from all of our locations. So we have 4 in Loudoun. So we had, I guess it's 12 girls from Loudoun got to go, and we had another 4 from our Fairfax program over at Groveton Elementary. Lots of girls from right here in Northern Virginia had this opportunity. I think ABC News 7 featured it in the news.
I saw that.
Yep. So awesome.
If another school wants to get involved, how do they do that? Let's say one in Herndon, maybe.
They just got to get in contact with me.
Okay.
I'm in touch with Fairfax County Public Schools, so we will make it happen. We will make it happen because we're growing really quickly, but we're growing because people want to run the program. They want to get involved. They want to get it in their schools and their locations. So we're happy to do it, and we're constantly looking for more partners. One of the things that's really awesome is we offer the program completely for free. And that specifically in our Title I schools, because we know we don't want it to be a financial burden or challenge that, they can't do it. So we work with the schools on selection.
I'm sure that's one of the obstacles anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So we're growing and we're excited and we can't wait to see what's next. We also had the opportunity, thanks to Northwest, we had some girls down at the City Open Kids Day this summer. So we had almost 50 girls from around our region that were there. Super exciting. They got to meet a couple of the players and the mascot for the DC Open was there as well, and it was a really fun, exciting day. They got to play on center court. They also got to stay and watch tennis throughout the day. So, what about USTA Mid-Atlantic? What are your plans for the future? I know you guys might have a new facility that's coming. Yes, great memory. Yes, we are planning to build a large tennis facility out in Loudoun County, and it'll be a training center. It's going to be a really great opportunity to just be a leader in the country. Really, we're the first kind of sectional regional office to embark on a project like this, but It's going to have a lot of indoor tennis courts, a lot of outdoor tennis courts, but it's going to have a great opportunity to have some really fun matches, training, and also, you know, we're looking to make it to be an NJTL, which is a National Junior Tennis and Learning Center that's part of USTA National and the USTA Foundation. But it's really a place like where kids can go after school. They can get homework help. They can play tennis, learn tennis. It's really going to be a wonderful opportunity for the community and just for, you know, adults and juniors and all, you know, everyone to just be able to go and play tennis. And there'll be so many courts that, you know, everyone will have the opportunity to play.
So you're going to be building that facility, but in the meantime, you just opened another facility, right? Village Pickle, which is pickleball.
Yes, we helped launch Village Pickle, which is over at the Village of Leesburg. We have 8 indoor pickleball courts.
I was there. It's awesome.
So in the meantime, there's lots of opportunity to play pickleball, and we're super excited about that and wanting to just, you know, help Northern Virginia and the region, Loudoun County, Fairfax County, just grow into their healthiest selves they can be, and tennis is a great way to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing everything about the wonderful program, Girls Rule the Court. We're truly honored to be part of it.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for having us. We're really excited.